Yeah, thanks, Chrissy. Thanks to Stuart Jackson putting on a really excellent event, an inaugural event here in Singapore. And it's a great pleasure to be part of this and bringing our story to the Singaporean investors for the first time. I think we've got an incredible story to be delivering and unfolding throughout the course of this year and into next. And one thing I will say, just echoing some of the other speakers talking about the energy transition, and we're embarking on that, it's still very early days. And that's really testament. The previous speaker talking about the role Indonesia's playing, and if I consider, a number of the meetings we've had from government delegations into Western Australia on a global basis from Japan, Korea, Europe, Indonesia, even the US, and trying to understand the role companies like ours can play in terms of bringing the next wave of projects to market. So with that, Global Lithium Resources, we have two projects. We're looking to fast track these projects, and I'll talk about the projects in detail throughout this presentation. But importantly, having great assets in the ground is one thing, and having a really, really strong, experienced team to be able to unlock the value of those assets is really the second piece, and that's where I think we're quite different. We have two assets that are in advanced stages of a combination of advanced exploration and development, and that's really where the upside comes with us as a company in terms of continual growth, building out our resource, and of course that will be reflected in our share price going forward. Standard disclaimer, please encourage you to read it at your leisure. So again, the value proposition for us as a company, we've got a wonderful starting position in terms of our resource, 50 million tonnes across both projects located here in Western Australia, and this gives us really wonderful development optionality. They are the two best types of raw material to be producing downstream lithium chemicals for the electric vehicle battery industry. These are both spodumene outcropping resources. And spodumene, and this isn't anecdotal, this is real-time feedback from the industry. Spodumene does concentrate to produce a wonderful, consistent, high-quality raw material for the electric vehicle battery industry. And ultimately, this is something the car makers are really looking for. It's one thing producing product on a consistent basis, but another thing entirely to be able to do it batch to batch to batch to batch. And that's where the liability comes in. And this is what makes contracting in this industry really, really challenging, because it is still evolving. And this is where we have a lot of experience. I've personally been doing contracts, offtake agreements in this space for the best part of 12 years. Both of our resources are JORC compliant, so lithium JORC compliance is not an easy road. We've been and have developed our two projects, two of only 14 JORC compliant lithium resources in Australia. I think that's really meaningful. And we own these two assets outright. If you think about, a lot of the other resources are managed under joint ventures, so there's clearly an equity split in terms of ownership of those resources. And this puts us in an incredible position in terms of continuing to grow out these resources throughout the course of this year and next. We do operate in the world's best mining jurisdiction. The Fraser Institute last year voted Western Australia as the best mining jurisdiction on the planet for investment. And even within Western Australia, our two projects are located in incredible mining jurisdictions in their own right. So the first, our Marble Bar project in the Pilbara, home for obviously iron ore, but also there's two existing high-quality lithium projects adjacent to our asset in Marble Bar. And secondly, as Christina mentioned, being a Kalgoorlie girl, our second project, the Mana Lithium project, is located about 100 kilometres east of Kalgoorlie. So wonderful, wonderful places to be developing mines, very strong rule of law, a very good engagement with local communities, and most importantly, fantastic infrastructure and all of the relevant disciplines to be able to bring these projects to market. We do have two excellent strategic investors on our register, taking around 20%. One is a downstream company based in China, Suzhou TANA, which is a controlling shareholder of Yibin Li, a company that's just done quite a major deal with Ford Motor Group. They have around 110,000 tonnes of downstream lithium hydroxide capacity in China. And the other partner, Mineral Resources, and again, Mineral Resources has been a wonderful partner, a pioneer really in hard rock development in Western Australia, and they currently own two projects under joint ventures also in Western Australia. Importantly, 70% of our total offtake remains uncontracted. We really view our offtake position as a weapon. It's important because offtake, as it's traditionally been undertaken, is dead in the water as it relates to these high quality assets that we're looking to proceed with. So what you can expect to see in terms of offtake going forward is counterparties taking a real partnership position with the company. And by that I mean, significant capital prepays and even equity subscription in the company. And that will continue to evolve throughout the course of this year. We do have a lot of lithium experience within the team. I've been in the sector 13 years working for big lithium miners, and similarly our geological experience of our geo team's got more than 80 years of lithium experience. Most of our geos have handled all of the lithium that's been discovered so far in Western Australia. But we do have a really strong broader management team as well. I think that's key, as I said earlier, unlocking the value of these assets going forward. And there's three really core pillars to our company, and it's very much a culture, a high-performance driven company culture, exploration, and that's where our upside's coming, project development. We've got a real gun project metallurgist with a PhD who's leading our project studies going forward, and he's got a fantastic in-house team working under him. And the third is approvals. And approvals is a critical path for every project in the mining industry, and we've got a really formidable approvals team. So just a quick snapshot of the company. We're a young company. We've only been listed on the ASX since May of last year, so we're coming up on May of 21, so coming up on our 2-year anniversary. We've got quite a tight register at the moment. As I said, a couple of strategics taking around 20%, a couple of high net worth individuals, one of whom is in the room today, taking around 12%, and then board and management with reasonable skin in the game, about 4.5%. And the balance is a combination of retail and institutional. So we are looking to roadshow quite significantly throughout the course of this year, really taking our story offshore to global investors for the first time. We think we've got a really compelling story that will resonate really well. Market cap sitting around 360 million, 257 million shares on issue. Importantly, we're well capitalised. We're really fully funded all the way through to final investment decision on our project, and there's a number of brokers covering the stock, as you can see on the bottom. We are in the world's best mining jurisdiction. Iron Ore has created this Team Western Australia brand. It's not just in Western Australia, the incredible experience and talent pool we have. I think it's well recognised by our global partners. And Western Australia has incredible trading partnerships with Japan, Korea, China, Europe, and of course the US. And this is where the value is for our companies. And Iron Ore has really paved the way for that by building out this incredible infrastructure, port, rail, road. And the mining industry, the lithium mining industry, has a great opportunity to leverage off the back of that incredible infrastructure. And this is where Western Australia is peerless on a global basis. Not only do we have incredible assets, we own 2 of those incredible assets, but it's all the softer disciplines around the technical capability, logistics capability, infrastructure, legal, commercial, technical. Just about everyone you meet in Western Australia who's involved in the mining industry is very familiar with lithium, and this is quite unique to our jurisdiction on a global basis. And this is where I think personally a lot of other nations are going to struggle, because they just don't have this ecosystem of expertise that we have. A lot's been talked about pricing. Spodumene pricing's holding up incredibly well. Current pricing as of only a handful of days ago was around $4,500 to $5,500 US a tonne. A lot of the talk about some of the oversupply in the China jurisdiction specifically is on the back of some inferior domestically sourced lithium carbonate units, which are non-preferred in the electric vehicle battery industry. Happy to talk more about pricing post-presentation. Please come along to the booth and I'll share my views. Lithium has been in the headlines quite significantly recently. There's been a lot of investment into Western Australia by offshore entities, and I think the bid that came in last week from Albemarle on Liontown is probably a case in point. You've got the world's biggest lithium company, US domiciled, who has made a play for an Australian explorer, a developer, and a hard rock developer. I think that sends a really powerful message. But not just Albemarle. I mean, SQM is very active in the West Australian space now, and we're seeing through the discussions we're having with downstream partners, there's just incredible interest. And again, this industry is only just getting started. So let's have a bit of a deep dive in one of our projects, our first project, 100% owned. As I said, this is an outcropping spodumene-bearing pegmatite. We've got an existing mineral resource here of close to 33 million tonnes, which is world-class in scale. we think it will continue to build out throughout the course of this year. We've got a very significant exploration campaign which has just kicked off, 35,000 metre campaign, which puts it one of the largest campaigns in the lithium sector. And we think we're going to add some very serious resource tonnes to this project throughout the course of this year. But we're not waiting. We're moving. We're moving directly into development. We've just completed a scoping study which suggests really strong project economics. That's given the board enough confidence for us to progress directly to a definitive feasibility study, which is now underway. The infrastructure piece, again, incredible infrastructure here. We're not far, only a handful of hours from the nearest port, which has available infrastructure, berthing infrastructure. And we're very close to Kalgoorlie. And it's only a 1 hour flight from Perth. So this is really attractive in terms of talent acquisition, but also retention. 1 hour flight from Perth plus a 1 hour transit to site compared to other parts of the world where you might have a mining asset that's effectively stranded because it's just so far from anywhere. Let's look at the resource. For those who aren't geos in the room, and I'm not one of those, this is a world-class asset, as I mentioned. The resource itself, more than 50% of the total resource is in indicated position. Our geo team has just discovered through the assays on some recent drilling at the back end of last year that didn't come into our resource model, quite a significant extension to this particular asset. It's faulted up to the northeast, and we've had some of the highest grade intercepts and also the largest width. So this is going to be the focus of our exploration campaign throughout the course of this year, and this is where we're going to add some serious tonnes to this particular project. You're likely to see a second pit. The scoping study that's just been completed suggests a single pit. We're likely to add a second pit to the northeast as well. So we're thrilled with this recent discovery, and certainly our geos are incredibly excited to get on country and continue building out and developing this resource. Just taking a look at the scoping study results. Now, I'd just like to point out, as a company, we only acquired this asset under a joint venture in December of 2021. We then delivered a maiden inferred mineral resource of close to 10 million tonnes in February of last year. We then embarked on a 50,000 metre exploration campaign that delivered a 230% increase to the resource, and then completed a scoping study in February. To have done all of that in a 12-month period is really testimony to the team. Incredibly proud. And this is just the start for us. I mean, this scoping study underpins and gives the board of directors confidence to move forward with DFS, but certainly the metrics on this page are going to change, and we think change for the better. There's some incredible work we're doing around ore sorting trials, which will continue to increase the head grade, build out the resource, extend the life of mine, and increase the throughput. But these results in their own right are compelling. It is a scalable project, a 2 million tonne run of mine, delivering around 220,000 tonnes of concentrate. And again, I talked about the current spodumene concentrate pricing of 4,500 to 5,200. You can do the math on that. This is a really standalone, incredible project. Competitive OPEX and CAPEX. Importantly, the CAPEX was based on a Q1 2023 estimate by a really experienced outfit who have got a lot of experience in lithium. And again, having 100% ownership of the asset puts us in a fantastic position taking the project forward. So we are underway in the DFS. We've got some of our geos here holding some of our stunning core. This is an open pit mine, and it is a spodumene bearing pegmatite with very low gangue minerals. So from a processing perspective, we're very confident this is going to clean up and produce a really wonderful concentrate. And in fact, some of the feedback from potential downstream partners in terms of processing, looking at our core, they're thrilled with the quality of it. So the feasibility study will roll out throughout the course of this year on the back of a very extensive metallurgical test program, and we're looking to make a final investment decision as a board next year. So there's a lot of work ahead of us. Of course, our environmental and heritage work activities are also underway. So there's a number of multiple work streams ongoing with regards to this project. Project number 2, again, Global Lithium is one of a few companies that has a diversified asset position. This project's located up in Marble Bay. You can see our tenemency package on the right here. It's very close to the Pilbara Minerals mine, and also the Mineral Resources Albemarle joint venture, the Wodgina mine, very similar geology. We have an 18 million tonne resource here at 1%. This is a very large land package, and this is where, again, there's quite significant upside ahead of us with regards to this year's exploration campaign. It's highly prospective ground. It is, again, as I said, an outcropping spodumene-bearing pegmatite. We've got lithium mineralisation over a 15-kilometre strike. So our geos have targeted some incredible targets for this year, and we'll look to get on country very shortly, as soon as it cools down a little bit in Marble Bar. It's about 42 degrees at the moment, so the next month or two we'll have the team on site. So again, this probably just portrays the size of this asset. You know, the green tenement boundary on the right shows you the scale of the land package. It is significant. The Goldilocks zone in yellow there really, from a modelling perspective, identifies areas of prospectivity. And you can see there around the Archer deposit, which is where we've been drilling throughout the course of last year. We've only really explored a very small portion of this particular land package. So this is our sleeper project, if you like. We're really confident 12 months from now we'll be in a position to push the development button with regards to this project as well. So very lucky to be leading a company with two highly prospective projects which are going to really make a difference to this energy transition future. So finishing off, I'm ahead of schedule, I think for the first time ever, Chrissy. So the key milestones for us this year, as I said, there's a lot going on. We're a busy company. It's a high-performance culture. There's no micromanagement in our team. We just employ great people to do a great job. It's as simple as that. Exploration across both projects will run through to the end of this year. The DFS, as I mentioned, for Manna is ongoing. We're looking to complete that in Q4. We are looking to have an ore reserve out in Q3 as well. The metallurgical test work is ongoing. That work stream's commenced. We are using Wave International. They've got more than 100 years of lithium processing experience, and they're a local outfit as well in Perth. Very experienced, and they've given us their A-team for our project because they're big believers that this will be a mine of the future. We're also announcing for the first time in this presentation, you know, our aspirations to look at direct shipping ore, some opportunities there. We've got partners in China. We are seeing a technical delegation shortly to investigate those opportunities, to drill them out further. As I said, we have provided core, so there is a near-term DSO opportunity that could generate cash flow for us as soon as our mining lease is approved and granted, which we anticipate could be as early as the end of this year or early next year. And downstream, you know, we think there's wonderful opportunities. We heard our Resources Minister speak earlier. We think there's some incredible opportunities around producing downstream lithium chemicals as well, and we're very, very well positioned. The other role or other hat I wear when I'm not the MD of Global Lithium is I'm also chairing the current London Metal Exchange Lithium and Cobalt Committee. So I'm getting some really fascinating insights into the downstream nature of those industries on a global basis. And I think, as Joe mentioned earlier, if you control the rock, you control your destiny. And we're big believers in that. So I think we've got some great opportunities there. We've got resource upgrades that will come to market. The approvals process is ongoing. As I mentioned, we've got a really, really strong approvals team. So that all segues to a FID, all going well, about the middle of next year. And then construction, commissioning, start of production is probably an 18 to 24-month journey. So first, concentrate production in market 26. If we were to go down the DSO route, we could have tonnes in market as early as next year. So I always like to finish on our just the strategy which makes us unique. We've got a scalable resource, growing, huge upside across both assets. We're growth focused and we've got great development optionality. We've got a value accretive story, not just to our investors, but our shareholders and the company and the team. We're all highly motivated. The DSO and downstream lithium chemical study scheduled this year, I think, will bring some incredible upside as well to the company. We're really strategically positioned. We've got wonderful relationships globally. I haven't really talked too much around the downstream piece, but you know, we are in discussions with some tier one counterparties that are offering you know, some really, really wonderful options for the company from a partnering perspective. So my last slide is our purpose, our values. We live and breathe these on a daily basis. We've got an incredibly motivated team, and our key mandate really is owning it. Everyone in our business is accountable. And I think that's really important. So with that, I will leave you. Thank you for your attention and hope you enjoy the rest of the day.